Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to KEL Online Invitational for our second match here in the round of 16 of the bracket stage. It is our number 1 seeded mrekk taking on a surprising number 16 seed in gnahus. I think very few people anticipating gnahus to fall all the way down to the 16th seed based on the way he's been playing in recent memory. I believe was dealing with a little bit of a minor hand injury a week ago during qualifiers, so hopefully has been able to resolve that in the time since for a really contested matchup, I think, against mrekk, who has, of course, been on an absolute tear coming off his win at the round table a couple weeks ago. It's mrekk. You expect him to be playing very well, and I think, something to take into account in this particular tournament. Qualifiers results, of course, number 1 seed, but number 1 seed including number 1 performances on the Nomad 3, number 1 performance on the Hidden 2, number 1 performance on the Hard Rock 2. So, mrekk, who's historically often referred to as an incredible mechanics player, coming in doing really well in some of those gimmickier maps, some of those more niche maps. Bodes pretty well for him, bodes poorly for his opposition going forward in this tournament. We'll have to see who can contest him across the entire pools. Not going to have too much to say about gnahus's qualifiers results. Did well enough to, put up at least a couple decent scores here and there, but nothing inside the top 10. Gonna just say that reflects on the unfortunate injury, and it's going to be a blank slate for him this week, starting things off as we enter the actual bracket proper. And I think we're already getting into this here. Looks like we have gnahus banning out the Nomad 6 and the Hidden 2, so some gimmick bans for him. mrekk, for his part, kind of unsurprisingly, going to ban out some of the more straightforward mechanics maps in the pool, banning out the Nomad 1 and the DT 1, which I think is kind of how you anticipate this match going. mrekk is, in this particular matchup, going to want to play those gimmicky maps that he did so well on in the qualifiers and that are going to represent his true advantage against a player like gnahus, who's going to be pretty mechanics-focused most of the time, and who is going to opt first into the Hidden 1 as the first pick. So getting things moving along, as you can anticipate from a 1v1 tournament, things always go quickly. It's going to be Lies and Ties, Hidden 1 first pick coming out here. Aim focus, relatively high BPM. It's kind of an alt aim pick, very snappy, and it's going to get us right into this match. This is our second match of the tournament, going on at the same time as another match as well over on the B stream, Tuna versus Misha Awa, so you can check out KEL Tournaments 2 for that one going on as well. Hit up a little multi-stream action so you get both at once, and can follow along as things progress today. Already a third of the way through this first pick, very, very closely fought to get things going. A very slight combo advantage to gnahus, a little bit of an accuracy lead as well for him. Will probably be able to bring this score gap back. It's only a couple thousand. They both broke early on, as well as I think once since then. But it's going to be a hard-fought pick thus far through. You can see the snap aim requirements of this pick, something that both of these players are so strong at. And both guys having a pretty good time building up some combo through this middle third of the map. That score lead was about to shift over, then decided not to. It was 400, then it went back up to 4,000. And for now, oh, it's a slider break from mrekk. That's going to be huge. gnahus able to take the advantage back over to his side. Nearly 500 combo and a 10,000 score lead. That's just going to continue to grow for him. Let's see how long gnahus can hold. It would be very good to get off on the right foot in this match. And mrekk is not a player you want to give early momentum to by any means. And so if you're gnahus, you're able to get a good first pick in here. You're able to get a good performance on the board. That will be huge. And it looks like it might just be job about done here. That lead up to 50,000 score, 500-ish combo lead as well. He just barely hits the slider head there. Almost a miss aim on the slider, but manages to hold on. And that will probably be nail in the coffin here. As I said, it's a blank slate going into the bracket stage here for gnahus after what happened with him in the qualifiers. You know, he's not going to be your traditional number 16 seed. Guy was, top 2, top 3 performer on the Polish OWC squad that won in 2025. He's obviously no slouch at all. So you really just have to discount what happened in qualifiers and say, listen, this guy's going to play better than that. Even if he does have a little bit of a slider break there into the last section, mrekk at 500 combo shouldn't be enough to bring back 75,000 score. But we'll see if he can put on a bit of a show for us in this ending section anyway. These tricky snap aim patterns interspersed with a little bit of slider aim just to keep you on your toes. It's another late break from gnahus. This is going to get interesting here at the end here. mrekk making this weird. That's a big misstep from gnahus as mrekk continues to hold. Oh, this is getting scary. mrekk has managed to flip it over. gnahus completely falling apart in the ending. Oh, what tragedy has befallen us. How the mighty have fallen so quickly in this last few moments of the map, and mrekk is going to steal the point away. Final margin is going to be 28,000 score. gnahus with those couple of chain misses in the ending. You hate to see it. He looked so strong for so much of that map. Unfortunately, the ending was his undoing, and that's going to be mrekk to take the point, stealing away the opening map as a break point on the hidden one. Tragedy strikes for the Polish player, and you just can't allow mrekk any entry into any map. You give him an inch, he'll take the proverbial mile. From 70,000 points down to winning by 30k, that's what the guy can do to you. You just have to anticipate he's going to hit everything, and you can never let your foot off the gas. And those chain misses were absolutely brutal for gnahus at the end there. So 1-0 mrekk, his own first pick to come, and it looks like he is going to tolerate the mechanics picks in this pool, and he will opt into Nomad 5 as his own first pick. It's going to be a Kari beam cannon. I think everybody's going to be familiar with this one. OWC Grand's speed pick from a couple of years ago. Saw some pretty ridiculous things from Rectagon and from Karcher on that map back in that time period. It's a Saren Hyde, aka Chemo map. If memory serves. 245 BPM. Not quite the high BPM raw speed requirement, but it's certainly going to be speed testing, tapping testing, stamina strain testing. All those things, whatever your tapping hand may be, for mrekk it's the right hand. Normally it's, oh, it's a left-hand map. Well, not if you're left-handed. All of a sudden it's a right-hand map if you're left-handed. But both these guys very strong on the mechanics picks. And I do think mrekk going to have the advantage in the realm of speed. We'll see how that tapping hand is feeling for gnahus today as well. Again, a little bit of a hand injury in qualifiers. This will be the real test of how that's doing. More of an aim player than a tapping player anyway. So this is going to be mrekk favored kind of from the outset, and you can already see how that's going. Quickly a third of the way through, and quickly a 100,000 score lead for mrekk. 4% accuracy, 300 combo. Yeah, unfortunately, if you give up anything to the tapping skill set against mrekk, he is going to be relentless with opting into that skill set. And if he dumps his blood in the water, it's like a shark, That being said, did find a break. gnahus does have a bit of an advantage for a bit, but unfortunately gives it away. That is where the stamina seems to have died a little bit. You can see that cursor shaking. That means that the strain is just too much for the player, not able to handle the requirements of the tapping in the map. And while mrekk has broken a couple times, the lead is going to be more than comfortable at 170,000. 8% accuracy as well. I've seen gnahus put on better scores on speed, but obviously, more the aim mech than the tapping mech, as we're finding out here. It's a kind of unfortunate situation to be in where obviously he felt pressured into having to ban the gimmick stuff because mrekk is so good at that. But that did leave a couple of tapping picks open as well, so mrekk saying, yep, we'll go to Mod 5. And, he'll also have a couple of DT options as well if he wants to continue some tapping abuse following this, which is going to be quite one-sided by the time all is said and done. Despite a few breaks, a lead of 200,000 score for the Australian superstar. Into some late moments. mrekk continuing to hold combo into the ending. Manages to make it through that stream despite some 50s and 100s at the end. The flow requirement comes in. mrekk up to the task. And final margin of victory on this one. 220k. Really never in doubt. Not a particularly incredible score by mrekk standards, but still Obviously more than enough there. One miss as well as one or two slider breaks. And gnahus not really in his wheelhouse, unfortunately. And mrekk will take the advantage. He'll consolidate the break point. Going to be the 2-0 lead. Unconcerned. Staying in his lane. Doing what he does best. Winning OSU tournament matches. Well, one of the things he does best. Also pretty good at that whole farming thing, I hear. But now second pick. Over to gnahus. Came very close on that hidden one. Had the advantage through much of it. Did not manage to hold on. We'll see if he decides to opt into some more aim. Does have that hard rock 1 available. If you like the alt aspect of the hidden one, also does have the Nomad 3. Nomad 4, kind of an alt adjacent techie pick as well. But yep, does like the alt. Is going to pick the Nomad 3. So it will be Egoist as the pick coming in from gnahus, our Nomad 3. Mega fan collab. A flowy alt than a snappy alt, so not going to be quite a direct comparison to the hidden one, but there's some commonalities. This is an LGA custom, if memory serves, from last year, Laser Grand Arena. A collab with Mega Fan and two members I am personally less familiar with than I maybe should be, Julian Alvarez and Misty. By loads of things. But in we're going to go. See if gnahus can reverse the momentum in this pick. As I said earlier, you really just don't want to let mrekk get too much momentum because he will run with it. He is one of the front runners of all time, maybe the front runner of all time. Just seems like the guy doesn't let people make comebacks. I suppose that's what happens when you're the best player to ever touch the game and you're proficient in every skill set that any map pool could have to offer. So we'll see what gnahus can do here, though. As I said, flowy alt maybe will work out better than him, maybe for him, maybe won't suffer from those late chain misses like he did on that hidden one. So far, so good for both players. Even combo FCs, same accuracy. We accidentally loaded the same replay in on both screens, guys. Sorry about that. The script is in, the fix is in. We're actually just going to tie this pick because it is completely identical still. Accuracy lead went to gnahus for a bare moment. Flips on back. Still a double FC. Halfway through. Both make it through the space pattern across the middle of the screen. Both holding just fine through all of the flowy alt sections that this map is going to challenge them with. This is some ridiculous stuff we're seeing. 950 combo on both. Looks like they're going to hit a bare minimum of 1,000 combo apiece. There we are. Still keeping it going. No lead to be taken by either player. Dead even on accuracy. Dead even on combo. Getting into some finger control tapping there. No breaks. Very minimal accuracy drops. Actually, lead goes to mrekk, and combo lead goes to mrekk. There goes gnahus. Falls down. mrekk continues to hold. The first break of the map could not have come at a much worse time for gnahus, unfortunately. And now it is mrekk off to the races. 1/4 of the map to go. Lead instantly up to 90,000 score. As his accuracy stays high, his combo stays alive. And gnahus' chances continue to dwindle at making any sort of comeback in this pick, and indeed perhaps in the match as well. There's another big chain miss from gnahus. That's exactly what happened on the earlier alt pick. Is, you know, just you don't miss once on alt maps. You chain miss. It feels like you miss patterns. Just kind of by the nature of these maps, especially on flowier ones. It kind of happens on flow aim. Happens on alt. mrekk finally drops at the very end. We will not be seeing a full combo on the map, but it's job done. It's going to be the second break point on the board. 3-0 will go the lead. That is a remarkable score from our number one seed. Just shy of 900k. One miss to his name. 99.3 accuracy. It's sparkling. It's sterling. It's a performance worthy of mrekk that we've come to expect. It's almost surprising when he doesn't put up a score like that realistically. gnahus, for his part, I mean, just shy of 600k. That's not going to be too bad. I think over the weekend you'll see that kind of score probably hold up pretty well. But unfortunately, nowhere near enough against mrekk here. And it's 3-0 lead. It's double break point. And so into mrekk's second pick we will go, looking for the double consolidated break point. Does have a couple of those double time picks available to him if he wants to opt into some more tapping. Has that DT2, has that DT3 as well. But it is going to be indeed the DT2, so just keep on keeping on if you're mrekk. You know, no reason to mix up a winning strategy. It looked very good for him on the No Mod 5. We'll see if the same is true here of this double time 2 pick. 225 BPM, so the BPM requirement is going to be a little bit lower. The stamina requirement, the finger control requirement might be just a little bit higher. Decently long pick as well. You don't see too many, kind of traditional DT2 picks in that 3.5 minute long range, but this one is going to ask that of these players. They have the early combo advantage to gnahus this time, but the accuracy advantage once again staying on the side of mrekk, which kind of does speak to their relative strengths. gnahus, as a very strong player, will be able to hold combo through much, but the accuracy might suffer a little bit for what he has to do in order to keep the combo alive. A little bit more mashing on that side, whereas mrekk is going to be able to play this with a little more of a refined technique due to his higher comfort level in the tapping skill sets. And there goes gnahus's combo, and now we're going to see off to the races for mrekk's score. 20k, check back in 10 seconds, see if that's not 100k yet. Just minus 45 DT vibes in this one, right? That 220 to 240 BPM range where it's not going to be testing your pure speed, it's just going to be testing your stamina. And mrekk, plenty of that to go around. Holds combo through that entire longer stream section, the death streams, as well as the awkward aim. This section offers some very tricky flow control patterning, and mrekk more than up to the task. gnahus, unfortunately, a bit less so. And, we come to the point of feeling a little bit like a broken record talking about this guy, because how do you truly extol the virtue of a player who has been there, done that, messed around, won everything there is to win in the scene outside of the World Cup itself? He is capable of playing anything you ask of him and only continues to improve, seemingly undaunted by the prospect of remaining #1 and having to battle all challengers time and time again. No matter who it seems to be on the other side, you give him an adequately difficult map pool, and he's just going to be that guy. As we say, hi back, Mr. Eck. Congratulations on your 4-0 lead. And this is just going exactly according to plan. There's too many things that he can do too well. If you're not a pure tapping player, you feel like you have to ban tapping against him. If you aren't a pure aim player, you have to ban aim against him. If you're not a gimmick player, you might have to ban gimmick against him too. And when those things all add up together, well, I don't know what he's doing. When those all add up together, it means that there's just very few people who can contest him. We've seen obviously some pretty remarkable things between mrekk and Malashevsky in the past. mrekk and Rectagon, of course, played those ridiculous sets at Roundtable Live on that LAN setting at the slightly lower star rating on the pool. I think that was a bit of a part of it. And once more, mrekk just going to have himself a time, and he's kind of... I think this is kind of BMing. I mean, I'm not gonna say I support what he was doing there, but if it preserves your stamina, preserves your finger control for the rest of the match, I guess you could make an argument there. Yeah, maybe not the greatest look to do what he did there. I mean, obviously more than capable of playing the map properly, but hey, it's a 4-0 lead, so it is what it is. And now we're at the point in the match where things get a little bit questionable, right? 4-0 mrekk lead. Gnahus has had 2 picks, one of which he very much could have won, another which he very much could have won. Realistically, the Nomad 3, I mean, if he wasn't playing against somebody who was able to FC, 3/4 to 80% of that map, he might win that one. Fortunately, the level of competition in this tournament is just extremely high, and the opponent on the opposite side of the screen is mrekk. So what's your last pick potentially here going to be in Mr. Gnahus is the question. It's going to be the DT3 as that map. Trying to get a point on the board, trying to avoid the sweep, wants to have a good showing, and we'll give him credit no matter what, because that performance on the hidden one was really strong, even if he did end up losing it at the last moments. Performance on Nomad 3 was really strong, even if he did end up losing that one as well. Not like he's playing badly on his picks, just getting beaten, and there's really no shame in that. So we're going to go into DT3, map number 5 here. It's going to be Vasilix. Approach rate this one, as you see, up at 10.3. One of a couple, actually. We have 3 10.3s in this pool. A little tapping, some kind of tech elements, and Gnahus maybe just in this to have fun, because this is the shortest map in the pool. So maybe there's an element of let's just get this over with. I would not like to think that that's the case, but there's a chance that that's the case. Because clearly not very comfortable with this pick. mrekk doing his thing. Yeah, in case you needed another advantage when you're somebody that could already play aim and already play tapping and already play reading and alt. Oh, he can also play heck DT. Because God forbid there's anything that he's not good at, I guess. And I know this kind of turns into the mrekk show, and that's kind of what happens more frequently than I would like to admit in his matches, but this is what the guy does. He makes it about him. He is the narrative in virtually any match where he's involved. He warps the entire discussion. We think back to the OWC Losers Bracket Final, where he was on just the terrible lifetime through the first half of that match, and then comes in here and just drops the FC on his opponent's pick. I mean, he warps the entire discussion around him. He is a black hole of anybody wanting to talk about a match that he's in. No matter what you try to do, no matter how hard you try to escape that event horizon, mrekk is going to still be there at the center of it, drawing you back in inexorably. And this is just one more occasion where he's going to do that, because you don't normally come into these matches and FC picks like that without looking like you're breaking a sweat. You're just going out for a nice little Saturday evening walk. And, well, that's what mrekk does. Now it is 5-0. This match going in a hurry. Unfortunately for Gnahus. mrekk running away with it, as he has done. And now try to put the cherry on top of a possible sweep here. Will be the next pick, mrekk, to be Hard Rock 3. It's our destiny. It's his destiny, perhaps. Not necessarily going to be a shared destiny with Gnahus. Their destinies are headed opposite directions. One of them headed on to the quarterfinals. The other one looking ever more likely like he's going to be headed onward to the first round of losers. This is a little slider tech here in the Hard Rock pool. Ishtiak, Azrulk, collaboration, and a complete banger once we get loaded in here. I'm excited about this one. This is another pre-existing custom. This one from OWC 2024. Takes us back a couple years to a map that these guys will have seen in the past. And we'll see if mrekk can close the match out cleanly. It's a 5-0 lead where, as I've said, Gnahus had a couple of opportunities for points, but mrekk thus far clearly the stronger of the two. And I don't think anybody expected anything different, and I don't think it's, anything negative to say about Gnahus to make that claim. It's just mrekk out here doing mrekk things. But let's see. Match not over yet. Gnahus still with a chance to at least put 1 point on the board. get something in the win column. Going to be a break, however. Got a third of the way through. mrekk holding. So lead will go his way. Nope, I lied. Bancho miss. So we are still even. That was, I think, the first Bancho miss of the match. Quite possibly. So shout out to Bancho for doing a little better job than it normally seems to. Watch that combo, see if that was another Bancho miss or if that was a real break. Looking, unfortunately, for gnahus like it was a real break. Yeah, up to 100 comp, but definitely a real miss. And now mrekk halfway through. 80k lead, FC still alive. Accuracy advantage still alive. Dare I say preemptive GG, well played? Bit of a GG, well played type of angle. This is going to be a break from mrekk there in the quiet section, but shouldn't affect anything in the outcome. I will mention that a matchup that looks like it may be a bit more competitive going on the second stream, KEL Tournaments 2, as I said earlier. Flying Tuna versus Misha Awa, casted by the lovely and talented Leiden and Vorty. That one is at 1-1. Note that these matches were scheduled at the same time. That one's at 1-1. This one's about to be at 6-0. So you'll definitely want to check out that match as it continues onward because it's looking like possibly a bit more of a back and forth type of affair than this has become. We mosey through this pick into the last quarter. Just another shining performance from mrekk. Several outstanding performances from him. A couple performances that were just, good enough to get the job done. gnahus. Well, mrekk is better. All you can say. mrekk just on the day, on the pool. Better player. And so that is going to be a clean sweep 6-0 for the number 1 seed, for the number 1 player in the world. Onward he will go into quarterfinals. He'll be facing off against the winner of Liliel versus Decaton. gnahus down to loser's bracket to face off against the loser of that match. That is going to be some exciting quarterfinals already getting set up, I am sure. But it's going to be a match. Congratulations to mrekk. Commiserations to gnahus. They'll head into next week and see how they can perform on the next pool. In the meantime, few housekeeping items. As we mentioned, KEL Tournaments 2 has the other currently ongoing match. As mentioned, 2-1 now, Flying Tuna in the lead against Misha Awa, so you'll want to check that out. While you are doing that, while you might switch over to that stream, I'd like to take the opportunity to head to our Ko-fi coffee page. If you like what you're seeing here, if you're liking the KEL Online Invitational, feel free to drop whatever amount of support you may feel comfortable with to the tournament, as it is seeking to support the next LAN at KEL 5. So everything donated to this tournament will help support making the future tournaments even bigger and better. Everything is appreciated, big or small. For now, we congratulate again mrekk. Well done to him. And we'll be headed to support the second stream. It's going to be KEL Tournaments 2. Going to be that match between Flying Tuna and Misha Awa. So say hi there. Say hi to Leiden. Say hi to Vorty. Thank you for watching. I've been T1G. And we will see you next time. Next match over here, coming up in a couple hours, will be that aforementioned Liliel versus Decaton. Don't want to miss anything. Exciting weekend of matches between some great players.